I like the novelty of being introduced for once rather than being the one doing the introducing. David, are you with me? Can we get you on the screen?
Yeah, hi Steve.
How are you,
How are
mate?
you?
I've got to say,
I'm doing well.
David,
I've been kept up to date what's been happening in the blockchain week by a good friend of ours, Brian Finchera. He's been updating me every 30 minutes on all the great speakers you have in the show. So yeah, it's really good to see there's live show happening now.
David, I've spoken to you once before, and then when I did the research before that, the reason, given that I curated a lot of this stuff, I got to choose who I spoke to. Very deliberately, I said I'll speak to David. So the reason for me, the value I think you bring into this conversation is you didn't just show up, right? I mean, I think the real interesting bit, and we'll find lots of these details on YouTube if you want to go looking. Yours is a hell of a backstory. You know, if I watch videos that you were a part of years ago, I could release them today as something which is relevant to the communities that you built. So take us back in time, David. Tell us how you got here. Ultimately, you could talk, I know, for half an hour. I'd very happily listen. But give me the snapshot. Give me the 10-minute version of what that backstory was.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Just going back to before the blockchain times, I've been in the gaming retail business for over 25 years. Have my own comic game, board game retail stores, operated, as a single store now. It's all around the world, got stores through mainly New Zealand here and up in Asia. And really just being involved with a lot of the brands what brings what we call the fandom. And what really resonated me and how I got into the business of the collectible is really about the community. And similar to what we see in digital asset, crypto, and NFT today. So number one, more importantly, is that, the audience that I'm addressing in the industry I'm in, I always knew that I need to stay relevant. And I continue to see the audience into the gaming and the younger generations all about the screen time. And really to understand how we can address that audience and stay relevant in the industry I am. And 4.5 years ago, myself and my co-founder, Daniel, we got together. And by the way, I have known Dan for over 25 years. In 97, he built my first gaming website, and that's how we got together. And it was 5 years ago. We met up again in Asia, and we were talking about digital asset, and we were intrigued with the technology around the blockchain. And obviously, back in those days, every other news we hear and read about is about security, about exchange getting hacked or wallets being stolen, and all the negative press around. So we thought, well, if anything does really grow into this industry, it's all about the security and the aspect around how we can protect these assets. So our first product that we produced and forte out was the secure wallet. And it's basically a piece of hardware called storage wallet that help you safeguard your asset. And really what we were thinking around is, well, wouldn't it be wonderful, in my retail business, everything surrounding what I sell in the physical collectibles and what you see behind me in my studio is that eventually everything will be digitalized. Because right now you can see me having these collectibles because I'm sharing it with you through a Zoom. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could show it off everywhere we can in palm of our hand? And we, ever since then, with the background I have in licensing and gaming and the collectible industry, with Dan's background in technology and running his own successful business behind it, the two brains basically got together. And what we're known today is the NFT market. But 3.5 years ago, when we tried to sell this idea to publishers and studios, we almost get laughed at. And because people never thought, why would anyone want to purchase a digital asset or a representation of a physical product? But what I really believe that the collectible business, number one, is about $270 billion a year. And back in that time, we already have games like Fortnite, Minecraft. And so the young audience that we know of today is already very used to purchasing intangible assets. And we thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we could build something that's one day will be what we call the interruptible market to help and to move these assets, because you got users out there spending hundreds of hours, if not thousands of dollars, that they almost want to resell them. Back in the days, you have to sell your CD key, you have to sell your password, and so on. And anyway, we kind of shelved that space because we thought that was far, something that we could achieve. So what we wanted to do was, back then, there was only few competitors, and don't get me wrong, we were inspired by, at the time, with what CryptoKitty came out, and we really understood why would people want to have this type of entertainment and this type of asset, and where the gaming world is heading into. But we wanted to build something that is truly unique. So as you know of today, the app is called VeVe. It's available in both Android and Apple Store. So you can download it in the palm of your hand. And what we cover in our app is really, number one, our target audience is the mass market. We really believe that to get massive adoptions, you need to have an easy onboarding process. And I really do believe that, if you really have to get MetaMask wallet, and there's nothing wrong with all these, and getting the gas fees, getting your wallet top up, it does require a lot more skill. And then what we wanted to do was easy onboarding, and also in the vice versa, easy onboarding for the brands that we have. The VeVe app today, we work with partners such as Marvel, Disney, 20th Century Fox, Lucasfilm, Pixar. I think we have Sony, MGM, CBS, Viacom, Warner DC, and many other artists in our category. And what we really built is something truly unique. Number one is Fandom. So you come into the app, and the idea is you will see all the characters in the nostalgia TV programs or gaming characters that you once know of when you grew up, all in one. And how we have been expanding this business is, number one is we sell the collectibles as the NFT, and these collectibles are sold in what we call a drop system, and we celebrate the drop system. So every week and throughout the week, we have these releases, and you need to be in the app and be there first. So far, everything's been selling out within a second or two. And, that's created a big community, thinking, are these digital assets are made for just resale, or these are collectibles for people who want to enjoy the fandom. So what we really wanted to achieve in the second stage was really understand how we can get the creative economy going. And the beauty about the creative economy is really sharing that fandom, sharing that data, that image of you in social, through Instagram or your favorite social media, and get that become the talking topic. And the other important part in the VeVe app is what you have seen behind me is the physical collectibles. I have them hanging on throughout my gallery. I have things sitting on the shelf. So we created an almost like a mixed reality, a 0.5 towards the metaverse. And we wanted to see if that experience is what the users and customer wants. And what we do is we have curated these, what we call defaults. Users can easily place the collectibles that they own into the vault in different dimensions, size-wise, so they can fit as much as they want. They can curate their own room. They can share the room through the images, and they can walk through it through the augmented reality mode that we have available on the mobile phones. And that really allows the fans to be engaged in walking into it. And that basically is how we really utilize the initial content of all these NFTs we have. We really wanted to produce something a lot more around utility value. So late last year, we partnered up with Disney Plus, where every NFT of the golden moment that you purchase, it gives you a subscription, either a 3 months or a 12-month subscription. We have done NFT programs with MGM Bond with their movie releases. And in recent weeks, we also released Aston Martin DB5 in our app. And now that's taking the NFT to another level where the utility value go as far as being interactive as well as being you're able to control and drive the car as you know of in the movie. So you can touch the lights, the machine gun comes out, you have all the gadgets inside, and basically with your remote control on the phone, it's out, you can drive it around. And that's where we really start to think, where the possibility of these NFT and what really the audience and people have known as Web 3.0, and really just trying to get into that space. So Steve, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight about what we're doing, and hopefully, you got some questions for me.
David, you've just described that as if it was a linear thing that you do, right? That is so not linear. As you're talking, at one end of the spectrum, your fans, the fans of your platform, they're crazy. You broke our website last time. When we did NFT Fest with Rochelle and Greg, you said, I'm doing this, they crashed the website. Mate, you go, they go. So, that fandom focus for me is an extraordinary thing to sort of watch. Tell me, is it just the fact that, you yourself are a fanboy when it comes to this sort of fandom element? Those collectibles aren't recent sort of additions. How do you tap into that? Because at the other end of the conversation, it's this brand play. I'm imagining that the mechanism for building those relationships with those brands, they're all the brands in the world people want to build relationships with, David. So, they're opposite ends of the spectrum. Normally, the skills you need at one are not the skills at the other. So talk to me about the fan base. They're rabid in a positive way. How is it you maintain that understanding of exactly what it is they want? Because you say it again casually, these things are selling out in a few seconds. Like the prospect that you can create a product and it sells out in seconds, and then you watch the after sort of sale chatter, which is people are desperately disappointed they missed out. Talk to me about the fans first.
Yeah, so this came with a little bit of experience what I do in the physical retail. So I want our audience to understand, and your fans and the people watching this, is that we really believe a terminology that I quite often use is the second secret. So behind any of my retail stores, I do have a gaming space. And the gaming space do take up to half of the retail shop. And you see tables and chairs. And the whole idea of that is that you have gamers that will come in, whether if it's playing trading card games, their tabletop Warhammer games, they will sit down in a sunny day, in a raining day, in 30 minutes, they will make new best friends. Why? Because they speak the same language. That terminology I use is the second secret, is really understanding, what people love in the fandom. And Steve, I know I met you outside this blockchain. I think I met you possibly in gaming show. You dress up as one of the Pokemon characters.
Yeah.
And once I know you love Pokemon, I know you have a similar interest as me, whether if you like to dress up as a Pokemon or you like to play the trading card game. So that second secret is very important. And then how we dive in and how we make that stickiness, it is quite important in the collectible space. And in any business, you want to make that collectible have that collectability. you want to make one less collectible than what the market is able to absorb and take in. So the control of scarcity, and the beauty about the blockchain is that it allows us to control the provenance, the scarcity, the issuance, and when we're start, are very, very crucial part in our business. And obviously, making that product really sticky, making that product that people will love. And don't get me wrong, not every single item is a home run hit. Our audience basically get a good taste of it, and their appetite gets deeper and deeper. They want better things, and our job as a content creator company is that we need to fulfill that appetite from our users. And something else quite importantly is to understand the secondary market. And that's a big part in any collectible business, and comic and physical toys, is that people sometimes often buy something and they go on the eBay or auction websites and look at what's trending and what's going on. And these things are very, very relevant. And what really works very well with VeVe does, we help our brand partners really convey their brand messages to the audience. So we sit very close to day, we really believe that it is very relevant for the fans to the superheroes or the movie character that you see on the screen are relevant to them, and they're growing up, they're thinking, wow, that's how I want to see a Spider-Man, or that's how I want to see Batman appears next to me. So these are the sticky points, what makes VeVe a true collectible app, as well as that creative economy, that user-generated content, which I mentioned. It's all about having the users to able to create their own, not just fantasy, but create their own artwork. That's something that's more meaningful and become more personalized. And we see that's becoming more and more relevant, and that our target moving on as a company will be shifting more towards that as well.
So that's one end of the spectrum, David. I'm mindful I've got 5 minutes left, and this is why I said we could probably go for a long, long time. That's user experience. You nail it. And again, you're talking over things that most people can't appreciate. That user experience is so difficult to get right. We jump to the other end of the spectrum here. You mentioned a few of them: Marvel, 20th Century Fox, Pixar, Lucasfilms, Disney, Warner Brothers, NBC, Universal, Sony, CBS, Viacom. You're just showing off at this point in time, mate. I mean, those relationships, any one of them, people would flex them into rooms. How the hell do you build that suite of relationships, in this environment, given how many incentives are sort of in market? That's an extraordinary mix of businesses to be engaged with.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Just the truth to be said is that it took multiple years to build this relationship. As I mentioned in my earlier conversation, is that these brands at the start, they didn't really understand why it would be relevant, why this creative economy or this brand and digital collectible or NFT is ever going to take off. So it was very, very hard. As we build the product out, we help and we go back. And I believe myself and Dan, we've taken over 500 plus meetings, and every time we go back, we will show them our roadmap and how we will be sticky. They ask a lot of serious questions, and Steve, so we should understand this is a continuous movement in legislation, regulations, digital asset. Everything is there's a lot of moving parts happening all at once. So the content creation and the licensing is only sitting in one department which we oversee. And as you know, regulators are now understanding a little bit more about crypto or NFT or digital asset around. They want to put regular frames around it. How do we protect the users, security, and so on. And even just being on the Apple App Store and getting approval in these mobile devices is always challenging. They come back with series of questions. So rest assured, these were not phone calls that you pick up last April or early on this year and go, hey, will your brand like to do some NFT with us? Certainly not. It is years of experience in working with these brands and cultivating that and understanding what message they want to convey to their audience and putting and curating a great program for that brands to be relevant to again.
So David, down to the last 2 minutes, given that you were from the future a few years ago, and I assume you live in the future now, what's the alpha for the thousands of people that are going to be watching this for us? Where are you thinking this is going? What do you think people are underappreciating at the moment, if you sort of just cast your lens forward a little bit?
Yeah. Number one, the industry is such a fast-moving speed. We're moving as fast as any blockchain can transact at the moment, 24/7, probably 40,000 transactions a second. And trust me, every one of our audience, and I'm pretty sure you're listening or watching this, you want when everything now. For us, is to ensure that we are building a fundamental for much longer term and understanding the landscape where we are navigating to. A key part in the business every day I look at is not just about bridging something that is very short term and it's going to solve a problem for 4 or 5 months. We are constantly looking at, for example, give you a perfect example, is interoperable. Most of our fans want our NFT to be interoperable in different marketplaces. We are thinking way beyond that, because solving that it's what the blockchain technology and all these different layers of protocol are doing. We're thinking, how can we have better utility interoperable into what the buzzword right now is the metaverse. It's not just listing your product on another wallet or exchange, it's how you can utilize that product, that digital asset, in another game or another format in different interoperable abilities. So that's where we really see the long scale is, you want more utility out of it. Because the entry level into NFT is much lower than where it was about 4 years ago. If you watch a YouTube, Google it, you can mint your NFT in many platforms out there. But, to create that content and that community and have that long lasting effect is a very key part every day how we think going forward, Steve.
David, I said I could chat. I think we'll have to start chatting more regularly as well. You've described, again, in very simple terms, complicated businesses. I think you are absolutely the embodiment of what people should look at here, because when people talk about scale, you can speak to the issue of scale, you can speak to the issue of IP rights, you can speak to the issue of commercial rights with businesses that are extraordinarily large. So I would imagine that it gives you a bit of a reason to chuckle when people tell you blockchain and crypto and digital assets aren't yet a thing. Thank you for your time, David. Very, very much appreciated, and try not to crash our websites if you can.
Thanks, Steve.